So talking about the vaccines, this is important because I think this is when people say, why do you talk so much about big tech censorship or the LGBTQ AIP? I think these are the two biggest issues of our time because not being able to actually have discussions, banning not just offensive jokes, but banning opinions because they're impermissible, which is where we are. I think if that goes, I think the rest of the country goes. And I also think that if we break down the barriers of men and women, if we just say that men and women are fundamentally interchangeable and a child doesn't need a father and a mother, which is the path we're going down, I think that we cease to be as a civilization. I think it's more important than corporate taxes. So that irritates me too, though I won't commit aggravated assault. Aggravated assault is just assault when you're having a bad day.
Really?
Yeah, it seems like it doesn't really need that there as a header. So YouTube, if you don't remember this, before we go into the vaccine scenario, they censored a Governor DeSantis roundtable with doctors from Harvard, Stanford, Oxford, and they got rid of it for COVID misinformation. And I think we have a clip that we're allowed to show from it.
Hopefully.
Yes. Okay, so this was removed from a sitting governor and actual scientists. So, yeah, maybe we need to talk over it.
We wouldn't do that.
But now we're at the point where YouTube deleted a video of a roundtable with Governor DeSantis. And he had with medical professionals from Harvard, Oxford, and Stanford. But according to YouTube, they don't follow the science. So the guy in question was Dr. Martin Kulderoff of Harvard. And what YouTube claimed, and there's an article from NBC, that it was COVID misinformation, okay? Two specific instances in the video. One is where he was talking about COVID and comparing it to the flu for children in mortality rates.
Them.
Not us, because then he was asked about the efficacy of masks, specifically in schools and whether children should wear masks.
Right.
And he said that he didn't think so. I didn't realize I was tossing to a clip of myself in the past.
Yeah.
I think we had the clip in there and we had to cut it out.
Oh, we had to cut it out? Thanks, YouTube. Do you feel free? Do you guys feel free? Seriously.
Yeah.
The fact that that has been removed. So it was Dr. Dan Erickson, Artin Masihi. They were also banned last year for presenting scientific evidence as it related to COVID. You might have forgotten this. Our 15 days to flatten the curve anniversary. That was removed for quoting the CDC, which went against the World Health Organization. Every now and then, on a day or two, they diverged. They didn't have their meetings. Then yesterday, and this is where we are now, Johnson & Johnson halted the vaccination. Well, actually, the FDA and the CDC paused the vaccinations from Johnson & Johnson due to some serious medical side effects. The ones that we know of right now are blood clots that aren't normal blood clots. So I think this is Anthony Fauci, right, describing the pause.
King Fauci.
Yes, King Fauci. Here we go. Let's watch.
A couple of issues come up of the importance of calling this pause. Because people say, what does a pause mean? It really
That's not the question people are asking you.
The FDA and the CDC to further investigate these cases to try and understand.
It's why are these people dying?
Someone
Like,
comes
pause.
in with this really rather rare
not
syndrome
to be confused with the select button.
Thrombocytopenia, where you
Where's
get
my
thromboses.
gold?
And when you have thromboses, the most common way to treat that is with heparin. That would be a mistake in this situation because it could be dangerous and make the situation much worse. So there's a clinically relevant reason why you want to make this known to people.
Okay, so here there are 6 cases right now of women aged 18 to 48. The symptoms are saying occurred 16 to 13 days after vaccination, and then there was
6 to 13.
6 to 13.
At least 30 years isn't a crazy gap.
But think of it, I could be removed for that because I said 16. YouTube was like, oh, no, it's 6 to 13.
Misinformation.
I was playing it more conservatively. You communist oligarchs. So, and then a woman died. Okay, a woman died. She was 45 years old, died 12 days after receiving it. Okay. So if there were only 6 women, why would they stop the vaccination completely? And that's what they're trying to tell you is, well, it was only 6. This is why we're stopping. Now, here's the thing. The 6, if you watch the press conference, and I highly recommend you watch specifically the phone call that I believe was with the FDA, not the CDC, that took place yesterday morning before Fauci went on doing damage control. I watched it in its entirety. The answers to the questions were more disturbing because they were begetting more questions. So they were saying, well, we know it's these 6 because they had 2 forms of complications, the blood clot and that other form of cerebral thrombosis, basically kind of variations on blood clots. And they're saying, so they had these 2 conditions which are very rare, and so we knew that was from the vaccine. And by the way, the medication that a doctor might give for a blood clot could kill them. So that's why we're saying this now. Okay, why would they pause the vaccine? And are they even looking at other people who maybe just had 1 blood clot, who maybe just had 1 serious symptom, and not including those?
Yeah. It does seem a little odd for 6 people. I think one of these people has died, right? One of them died.
Yeah, one of them died and 6
the other 5
complications.
in very serious complication
Try
conditions. Out of
listening.
7 million. I'm reiterating, Dave. Out of 7 million doses given.
That's what they're saying.
That seems kind of odd.
Yeah.
It'd be like shutting down a whole country for a small number.
Yeah, it almost would be like that.
Something like
If
that.
only we had
not that
something
there's
to
anything wrong
scale
with
this
that.
and put it in context.
Right, no, that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, it's totally-
I want to be clear.
Absolutely.
I fully agree with
And
that.
by the way, this is the issue. This is not an unreasonable stance for people to. What has been my stance? Everyone's stance here on the vaccinations. Okay, I've said, look, I think the vaccinations they make sense for someone who's old. For example, I have a 97-year-old grandma right now with a lung issue. I think it makes sense for her. I think it makes sense for people where they're old, they're immunocompromised. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
And then I think with younger people, there's a risk-reward ratio where you have to weigh the pros, the benefits, and the cons. I don't think that makes anyone here Jenny McCarthy.
But I do have a lovely set.
Yes, you do have a lovely set.
boy.
Boy, she's an idiot. Can you imagine hanging out with her, Jim Carrey, and her goofball
Oh,
kid
no.
at a dinner? Just like, this is ruined. like, see, my movies suck now.
Always.
So over the past month, by the way, the AstraZeneca vaccine, this was it had been halted or limited in over a dozen countries because of what they listed as blood clots. March 22nd, European regulators were notified of 86 cases, 18 of which were fatal. British health officials claim the risk of clotting outweighs the vaccine benefits only for people under 30. Now, AstraZeneca isn't currently authorized in the United States. Johnson & Johnson is a similar mechanism of action, not exactly the same. You have Moderna and Pfizer, and then you have Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca. Johnson & Johnson was nicknamed the Biden vaccine.
Yes.
It didn't have to be
Convenient.
refrigerated. And I'm not blaming Joe Biden for any of this, but it's fun to toss that in there.
on his watch.
So
Sorry.
here's the main issue that I have. Not just the blood clots, and that's sad and it's horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, the issue is that despite this valid scientific research and multiple international organizations saying, hey, these benefits don't outweigh the cons. Not to mention a doctor who even worked at Pfizer. Media platforms have been removing any and all content that allege complications with the COVID vaccine. Let me give you some examples. YouTube removed over 800,000 videos for COVID misinformation. 30,000 of them were exclusively about vaccines. YouTube specifically bans videos claiming that vaccines might kill people, and Facebook bans any claims, they did at least up until yesterday, they banned the claims as policy that the vaccine could cause blood clots. So here's my issue. 2-3 days ago, you could have been a doctor from maybe one of these governing boards in one of these European countries saying, hey, this vaccine is not entirely safe and it may cause blood clots, and you would have been removed from YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, the town square. This is where we have to acknowledge that this isn't, when people say it's a private corporation, they all decide in unison, en masse, to remove people who have valid concerns. So when people say, hey, how much is a life worth because I'm not wearing a mask into a Quick Trip, never racetrack, only Quick Trip, these people don't care. Well, okay, how much are the lives worth where you silenced every single person who just said, hey, you know what? Maybe the vaccine isn't worth it if you're under 30.
Yeah.
Maybe something that is I'm just saying you need to weigh the pros and cons. There are people where it makes absolute sense for. This is crazy.
Yeah. Well, and they're trying to get rid of vaccine hesitancy, right? They want people to get vaccinated. So, okay, well, then get rid of Kamala Harris when she said she wouldn't get the vaccine if it was developed under Donald Trump.
Right.
Play by the same rules.
Or
You
just
guys
get
don't
rid of
care.
her.
Well, look, if you want to go out there and be crazy and say vaccines are the worst thing on the planet, not about COVID, but other vaccines in general, fine. You know, I feel like people should have the freedom to say that.
Exactly.
You have to be able to back
Yes.
it up, though, for me to believe it.
People
Otherwise,
are,
I'm an idiot.
people are going to take something with a kernel of truth and spin it into a conspiracy. But that's been going on since the beginning of time. So if you have someone who says, oh, there were 80-something cases of complications in Europe with the vaccine, therefore that means that George Soros is microchipping everyone and it happens to have the barcode 666, you go, okay, well, I'll take that with I'll take it with a salt bar for a horse, for a Clydesdale, right? You have to allow for that so that at least people can get access to information. Right now, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter cut people off from doctors and life-saving information. Look behind you. That's the Orwellian dystopia. And I really want to know, people, comment, if you're a liberal, if you're someone who sees yourself as a leftist or as a classical liberal, please tell me there are some liberals out there who at least understand the problem with this. You're not just going, yep, mandatory COVID vaccine passports. I mean, if this hadn't come out, and by the way, there's something beneath this surface.
Yeah.
There's got to be more here because they absolutely, this will be a disaster. They tried to skim along it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
They wanted no one to question it. COVID passports, don't question it.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say if nothing had come out about this, we would never have heard about it, right? This would have never gotten onto the radar. It just feels like there's a lot more going on, like you said. But the passport thing you brought up, that is a line in the sand.
Yeah.
Like I will never, ever, 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 ever have a document that says, "Oh, I've been vaccinated from something, and so therefore I can get on an airplane or go into a business or something like that." Fine, I'll find alternate transportation.
Well,
I'll fly Spirit Air.
What they want to say is,
No, yeah, come on.
Get
Times
that
are
low.
tough, Dave.
well, then if you don't have something, by the time you're done with that flight,
You will.
Yeah, you will. They don't even have seats. It's just everyone in stowage.
You're twerking. Can you fly a plane?
Yeah, it really is just. Honestly, I don't know unless there's a lawsuit that causes a big difference here, and we're doing what we can.
Well,
It
There
really
is
is.
no-
I don't know if there's any turning back from that. Think
Yeah.
about this. Do you understand how this started, right? You said get rid of Alex Jones because he's crazy. That's what you guys did. Okay.
Then proved
you
him
said,
right on certain things.
Right.
Which
Then
is
you said get
amazing.
rid of these people because they're offensive. They tell offensive jokes. Then you said get rid of that governor because I don't like what he says. Then you said get rid of the president because we want to say that Fight Like Hell was actually calling people to violence. And then you said get rid of doctors, scientists, and anyone who thinks that there might be complications with a vaccine that hasn't been used on a large population of humans in long-term trials yet. And you removed them, and now you have people who've died. Look. Slippery slope. We already said you're at the bottom of the slide, and I just when I was seeing this going on, I'm going, okay, is this going to be something that'll slap some sense into people? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think people are going, oh, it's good. We need to be protected from any information that might upset us.
I know.
You were wrong. Can you admit that you were wrong? I admitted that I was wrong about Teslas. Can you admit that you were wrong about? At least we can't say about about COVID.
No.
About shutting everything down
No,
because
no.
they'll say, well, no, it's
No,
worth
yeah.
it to save one life. Can you admit that you were wrong to support policies that banned doctors, scientists, and you know what? Even people like us who said, hey, I just think it comes with some risks that people need to be aware of. Can you admit that you were wrong in demanding that be removed from the discussion?
Yeah.
If you can't, then let's stop trying to find common ground because these are totalitarian fascist assholes.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.